This video is the second in a series where I'm going to show how I create iron-on patterns from PDF patterns, which I mostly use for making doll clothes. In my first video, I showed how to import and trace a PDF pattern into Inkscape. This PDF pattern can be a purchase pattern or a second-hand or a scanned hand-drawn pattern. This video will show how to clean up the SVG file for import and then how to import the file into Cricut Design Studio to cut out the pattern. Cutting out patterns this way is especially useful when I make a large batch of doll clothes. The Cricut will cut the pattern very precisely and it will cut out a whole bunch of them. I can cut out 10 patterns really quickly and they're all exactly the same. And then I also use it to cut freezer paper, which allows me to iron it on to whatever project I'm working, and it easily peels off but stays in place. I don't have to use pins, and it's a really great method. So I'm going to get started on showing you how to clean up the PDF file. So this is the file from our prior video where I had taken this PDF file right here from a Liberty Jane pattern, and I then used the Inkscape tools to create these blue trace patterns. So I'm going to pull all my patterns that I traced out of the way over here. Bring them over here. So I'm going to need them to be out of the way. Actually, before we go too far, we need to create a pattern sizing thing. You'll notice most patterns will come with this 1-inch guide. They do that because when you print patterns, sometimes the printer or whatever you're using will scale it. So you want to make sure that you're using, you have it scaled correctly or it's not going to fit well. You can use this box and just create a 1-inch square. I can go here, and if I change my settings to inches, I can tell it that I want my height to be 1 and my width to be 1, but that doesn't always work. So I think we're also going to do this another way where we just use the same drawing tool that we used before and we'll create a 1-inch square. So we'll just do the nodes like we did before and create a box that looks terrible at the moment, but we'll fix it. So we're going to go to each of these nodes and we'll just click on the node. And it'll let you choose where exactly it is on the grid. Right now I have the grid hidden, but there is a grid to this. So I'm going to just make sure that this node is at -8. I'm just going to round to the closest thing. Okay, maybe it needs to be correct. Then I'll put this at 8, and then when I have them all in the right place in the grid, it'll make sure that this is a 1-inch box. So this needs to be -7 and 8, and this needs to be an inch off from where we started, so it needs to be, I think it was -7. Nope. This needs to be -8. And then this last one will line up too. Alright, so we've got a square there now, and so to be able to prepare it for import, we're going to have to delete everything that's not SVG files. So we've got all these here. I might just keep this one on here. Actually, if we want to try to keep this one that I pulled out, we can ungroup it. Again, I'm trying really hard not to use shortcuts, so we're going to try to keep this piece here. We'll ungroup that too. And I'll keep this one piece and see if this method will work. So we need all the pieces we're going to keep over here, and then we'll just select all these and delete it so that we've got a good clean file. You can arrange them here. I actually find it's usually easier to arrange things in Inkscape than it is in the cutting software, but I think for now we'll just go with what we've got. So now I just save the file again. I'm going to save, I think I'll just save a copy. So last time I just saved as trace a pattern t-shirt. I'm going to save this one as ready to print so that I know that I'm going to import the correct one. If you don't have all of that other stuff deleted, it's going to cause an error when you open up the software for Cricut. Alright, so we've added our 1-inch square block, and we've cleaned it up so that there are nothing but the shapes that we've created. So now we're going to go to the Cricut Design Space software, which I briefly showed in our last video. So you go to design.cricut.com. I already have an account, so it's already logged me in. So you may need to set up an account, but this is where you start, and this is just a free software that anyone can sign up for. And then if you have a Cricut machine, it will talk to your Cricut machine. So you can use this for all of your projects. So we're going to create a custom project. You can see right here, I've already tried this method and I have my baseball tees and some underwear that I've been making. So here we're going to do the t-shirt. So I'm going to create a new project. I'll just click here. Then I'll go over to upload. And then I'll upload an image. And I think I've got this open. So I've got this pattern that I made earlier, I'm ready to print, so I'm just going to add that in here. And if I didn't take out all the extra stuff, it wouldn't give me this, it would give me an error. So if you've got an error, that might be a good place to start. So this looks good. So now we have uploaded it, and that looks good. Okay, so now that we have this image here uploaded, you can see this button before, so I had to rearrange the screen, but we need to hit save, and then it'll save it to your uploaded images. So now it's here. We can select it and go over to this bottom corner and click Insert Images. Okay, so you can see that we've uploaded the image and it shows over here, but it's not showing up in here. And this took me a minute to figure out, but what's going on is it's actually off screen right now. See how this is a negative value? So I'm going to change this to 0, and there it is. So these are the pieces that we imported, and it looked like the piece that we did trace, that was just automatically traced in our last file, worked, and so did the box that was created, and so both methods seem to work. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to ungroup everything so that we can move things around. I'm not sure if it's true in this software, but in Shortcuts a lot you had to indent things a little bit, so we're just going to, the first thing we need to do though is make sure the size is correct. And if you look here at this box here, it's telling you that it's 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches, and it also shows you that right there. So that means we're going to need to resize, because if you remember in our pattern piece that we were looking at, right here, this box was supposed to be 1 inch. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to calculate how much we need to shrink this. So I'm going to zoom out so we can highlight all of our pieces. And you need to do a little bit of a calculation for this. So I like to use Excel for everything. So I'm going to use Excel for this. So we know our box, it should be 1 inch by 1 inch, but it's actually 1.25 inches. And then if we highlight this entire group of pattern pieces, if we look up here, we can see that it's 11.56 by 13.63. So we're going to put in. Alright, and then we're going to figure out what the correct size is by taking this 11.565 and dividing it by the number that it is. So this is what we want it to be, and this is what it is. So we're going to take all of this, and it's already locked. Like if you unclick here, it shows that it's unlocked, which means it's unlocked ratios. So you can lock the proportions, and then we're going to put in this proportion. So this part, this number that's 11.565 should now be 9.252. So we're going to go in here and make it 9.252, and that should resize the whole thing. See how everything shrunk just a little bit? And this part that was 11, okay, so we need to put this formula in here too. So this part that was 11.565 is now 9.52, and I like to calculate both measurements just in case it gets skewed a little bit. So this part that was 13.963, the height is now 10.94, which is what it should be. So now we have everything correctly sized, so we can just delete all these boxes. And it's pretty much ready to cut. I like to put things close, closer to the edge, like put them all so that there's not a lot of wasted paper or wasted fabric if you have a fabric cutter. So I also copy and then paste this. So this is what we were talking about before. We need to have a left and a right. So to create the other side, we're going to flip this. And we're going to flip it horizontally. So now you can see you've got a mirror image right there. And I like to also do the same thing with the sleeves. The sleeves are pretty similar, but you're going to want to have a left and a right. So we're going to do copy and paste and then flip, because they are the same already. And there's this very, very subtle difference. So you can see that shifted a little bit. We could also use this piece, but there's an extra one. We just created that to see if another method would work. So now we've got these pattern pieces all ready to cut out. And I will try to create another video soon to show how to cut it. If you've used the Cricut in your software before, you probably already know that at this point you just click the Make It button. I actually haven't used this software at all before, so I need to figure this out. But this should be all ready to cut. If you want to cut, 3 or 4 versions, just highlight all of these. And this is one shirt. We want, a left and a right of everything. So we're going to do copy and paste. And now we've got another set. And you can use this tool to rotate it, hopefully, so that or you can use this and just kind of lock it in with the other pattern. So I'll just turn it upside down and then scoot it over. And now I've got a few pieces, and I'm just very frugal, so I'd probably try to cut something in the middle here. But this is really great too, because you can, if you're cutting fabric, which someday I'm hoping to be able to do, you can actually conserve fabric because it's really easy to get things very close together and have them cut very precisely. And you can, some machines will even let you scan your fabric, and then you can make sure that the pattern is lining up exactly how you want. So I know you can do that with a Brother Scan and Cut, and probably some more will be able to do that in the near future. But this is kind of the method I use for creating my freezer paper patterns. So at this point, I would put my freezer paper on the Cricut mat, and I might do a video later showing me doing that. But you want to be able to, if you want to have the iron-on pattern, you need to use freezer paper, which is something you can buy everywhere. If you've done applique, you've probably used it before, but you can buy it at the grocery store, anywhere you'd buy like aluminum foil or plastic wrap. So you put the paper side down, shiny side up, and then you'll just cut it the same way you would cut normal paper. For my mats, I have to cut it down so it's 12 inches wide by 18 inches long, and then I can cut out a whole bunch of them. But it's a pretty easy process from there, but hopefully I will make a new video to show that, just to make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. But this is the general pattern, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions, and I'll try to put a few more of these up in the future. Thanks!